Hey, and welcome back to the Pilot Dev Series. This is the third devlog. Since the last devlog, we had the following deliverables. We wanted to switch to the new input system in Unity, make sure dialogues are working properly, both when started from outside the player and when the player starts them through interaction. Wanted to make sure interactions in general are working properly because I was dealing with some weird bug before. I fixed that now. Flesh out the level design plan on Figma. So, talking about what we've done. So switching over to Unity's new input system is done. New input schemes are defined. I can show them right over here, right? And there's one for the player's general state as well as when they have a dialogue, which is like more specific to when we've interacted with something and there's a dialogue box that's open, whether that's a dialogue, someone talking to us, or an interaction, just text without necessarily coming from anybody, right? So, I also fixed the issue I was having last time with interactions and dialogue. So basically, before I was having an issue where, because the button they were pressing to start the interaction was the same button that they were pressing to continue the interaction, I was having this issue of the interaction basically starting and finishing at the same time, right? So now I fixed this issue, right? The player can start the interaction, no problem, they can continue. Everything behaves as expected, and we can see this is an interaction text here, that's a dialogue there, so both of those are working. That's fantastic, right? And also, because I went ahead and used the new input system, I also integrated support for a controller, because it's super easy to do, so that's done. No real reason for it, I just thought, why not? The next thing I had to do was flesh out the level design plan on Figma. That was my deliverable for last week, so I experimented with a few different ways I wanted to represent this stuff. In the end, the way I'm doing it is sort of a top-down view where everything in the scene is something that I've usually named, right? Because it was just too much to put the actual text on everything, right? So for instance, here I have this selected, this is a carpet, right? So I have all the names of everything here. That tells me where it is, right? What it is. So I defined the bedroom, right? So I have a general layout here, and I have the kitchen here, where the blue is the grandma here, and we have all these other items in the scene. So I'm gonna make those. This is outside, the still in progress. So basically, I have the hallway, the bedroom, and the kitchen, and these are all zones that I put in the sort of grandma's house, because basically there's three big zones in the game that I wanted to make. So first, there's the grandma's house. There's the outside. And there's also the groceries. I'm gonna have my complete sort of level design, my first iteration at least, done, right? So, the next deliverables I'm gonna have for next time is gonna be to start actually implementing the design of the map that I've made here for grandmas with no real visual assets, because I don't want to start working on that yet. That's gonna come after I know everything's working. So basically, I'm just gonna have these like primitives, just these like default shapes, just sort of where things should be, and I'm just going to make sure that the functionality is working okay. And once I have that, I'm going to move forward with first finishing the definition of the outside and groceries, and then I'm going to slowly turn my attention to the definition of actual visual assets slowly. Yeah, I think that's probably the best, because basically the vibe is going to be that maybe grandma's is a good sort of zone to make sure that everything's working properly, right? So basically, I would have this flow of like the player, you know, waking up and doing all these things that are defined in the story and interacting with the elements in grandma's. And I think once I'm satisfied that things are working good at grandma's, I can start making the visual assets to make sure that just my general flow for how I'm going to make the rest of the game makes sense. Yeah, and once I validate that, I'm going to move on with the other zones. So basically, for the next time, the deliverables are going to be start implementing the design of the essential features of the application at grandma's, and start making visual assets for grandma's to make sure that things are working properly. So visual assets, I think I'm going to save the characters for later. I'm going to start with the inanimate things. So for instance, the bed, the nightstand, the carpet, the chairs in the kitchen, for instance. And afterwards, I'm going to start defining the characters, I think. I'm going to try to get those animations working. So that's going to be the deliverables for next week. All right. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.